So we've got the SC joint here, and the AC joint is here, where the clavicle's right here. Jugular notch is right there, and the coracoid process is in here. Pec minor is deep and goes this way. And then we have the deltoid muscle group with biceps brachii, and then spinal scapula right here, here. And then we have the supraspinatus and the trapezius. And then along here, the inferior angle of the scapulas. And then we have triceps brachii. And so our special tests are going to be, we're going to do a flexion up, and then extension down, then hyperextension back. And we're going to have abduction to the side, adduction back down, and then circumduction in circle. And then we're going to have lateral motion where he does the 90s, medial rotation where he does the 90s down, and then horizontal abduction where he goes up. And then horizontal abduction back. And then we have scaption where you go out. And then we have, for the scapula, let me turn it on for this one. We're going to have elevation where you go up, depression where you go down, adduction where you retract your shoulder blades together, abduction where you go forward, and you have upward rotation, put your hands up, and then downward rotation where you do not go. And then at this test, you're just going to put your hand over your back and then try to touch your fingers. So we're going to have AC glide, where we're going to grab the clavicle here, and just go anterior, posterior, superior, and then SC glide, where it's the same thing, just grab the other part of there, go around, and compression is where you put either side and just push it in, and then piano key is like pushing it down. And then we've got Hawkins Kennedy, where we're going to flex and elevate to 90 degrees. We're just going to go in until you feel, if you feel any pain. Then there's supraspinatus or long head biceps tendonitis pain. The Neers test is where you're going to have your hands inward, and you're just going to go up. And if you feel any pain, then supraspinatus long head bicep. Alright, and then drop arm, you stand up. You're going to have your hands up, and then you're just going to slowly go all the way down. And you watch if one arm drops before the other, then there's a supraspinatus tear. Then empty cam test, you're going to have your hands here and up a bit, and then I'm just going to push down, don't let me. If there's pain, or just really hold it up, supraspinatus tear. Wherever lift off, you're going to put your hand on your back like that, and then try to push back. Next arm. If there's pain with this, then there's subscapularis tear. Then put your hand on your belly, and then don't let me pull your hand off. If there's pain there, then the subscapularis tear. In bear hug, you're going to have your hand up here like pledging allegiance. Don't let me pull your hand off. And then that'll be subscap tear as well. And then go 90-90, and then try to push forward. And then there would be infraspinatus or teres minor there. In apprehension, you're going to try to go, right into this one, you're going to lay down on your back. And then I would have you go here. And if there's any pain going here, then there's instability in the anterior humeral joint. And then relocation, I would push down here, and feel better that way. If there's relief and there's still instability, then apprehension, we'll have you go off the bed just a little bit with the like that shoulder joint. It's where your hand's pointing straight up, and then you just go past that point. And that posterior force will see if there's posterior GH instability. And then you stand up for this one. The sulcus sign is where you're going to grab the mid forearm and the glenohumeral joint and apply the downward force using the forearm. And if there's laxity or gapping here on the sulcus joint, then there would be inferior instability. And then, can you stand right here? And then I apply force through the elbow here. And if there's any clicking, popping, or anything like that, then there would be a positive slap test. Grind test is where you're gonna lay down again on the back. We're at 90 degree. I'm just gonna take this in 90 around. Yeah. And then we'll go in here and we'll do like an ice cream scoop motion. But I'm gonna hold his arm here. Ice cream scoop. That one would be the grind test. And then the crank test would be even further. And do the same motion. Just hold it even further in there. Go around. And then corner test. You have your hand under your head. My hand over your back. And then you see there's pain going down here. If there is pain, then there's superior ligaments there. And then we have speeds test, where we're gonna go to the bicipital groove, put the other hand on your wrist, and you're gonna flex your shoulder against my hip against me. And if there's pain, and then there's biceps tendonitis. And then Yergenson's test, you're gonna do the same thing here. And then your elbows on the side. And if there's pain with where I'm going, then biceps tendonitis. You're so quick there. Ryan's test, you're gonna flex your shoulder to 90 degrees. Pronate with your hands.
Should I stand?
Yeah. Flex your shoulder to 90. Pronate your hand where the thumb's pointing down. And then you have to resist. You go up here. And then if there's any pain in the first position and then it got better, then there would be slap tear. And then the anterior slap test would be hands and hips. And then I do right here.